All right, record on this computer. Recording. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to the first of many conversations we're going to be having here with the next set. I'm joined here with Jake Brailey. Jake Brailey is a close friend of mine. I've known Jake for a few years, and Jake is a well-established online coach. And I thought it'd be kind of great to get him in here to kind of talk about online coaching, especially with a lot of trainers now wanting to kind of branch out online with lockdowns or the uncertainties of gyms being open. So I thought it'd be a kind of great discussion to have. And I know I had a few questions on the group and you guys want me to ask a few things towards Jake. So let's get right into it. So Jake, how are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Thank you for having me on as the first guest.
I love it. I love it. It's great.
Much appreciated.
No, it's good. I mean, how is this third lockdown treating you at the moment, mate? Is there any differences to the last one?
Yeah, I think it's like in general, I'm in a pretty decent-ish position, I guess, for like the lockdown. Just quite fortunate to have somewhere to train and things like that. But yeah, I think it's almost become like normal life now. As I was saying, because I currently train with one of my friends at his like kind of little private facility sort of thing. And we're just saying how it's pretty much we've trained there and stuff more than the actual like normal gym like in the past like 12 months. So I think it's almost become norm, which probably isn't a good thing, but
no, I mean, we were just saying it's nearly like a year, isn't it? And since there's all this stuff kind of like broke out in the UK, and so we're coming up to the anniversary, and gyms haven't been open, and it's been a lot of time. People have probably just been doing stuff outside on Zoom, and the industry's completely changed because of this. And I think it's kind of like good to kind of prepare and look ahead, because we don't know how long this is going to go on for. And obviously you've just you're obviously coaching a lot of clients. We'll come on to that in a sec. But I mean, you yourself, because you're still managing to train, you're now starting your prep, aren't you, for your 2021 shows, isn't it?
Yeah, so shows hopefully that go on later this year, fingers crossed.
How long was your off season again?
For like 2.5 years. It'd be like 3 years between the shows, but by the time I step on stage in the summer, it'd be like 3 years between the last one and this one. I was meant to compete last year, but then obviously after everything that happened, I was like, I'll call it off and just do it this year instead. But this year really isn't any different so far. So no, yeah, but be going for it this year anyway.
Yeah, I mean, any of you that know Jake, like you've seen that you I mean, I follow you, I know you, I'm a close friend. I know you've been absolutely just putting in the work over the last 3 years. And every time I see you, because if you don't know Jake, Jake lives up in Rotherham, but he used to live down in Plymouth. And every time I see him, you come down here, you're just bigger. I mean, sorry, mate, you're still short, but like, you're just bigger every single time, and it's just testament that he's putting in the work, and the work in as a natural. So you're doing great with all that, mate. I mean, I know I say that to you anyway, but no, I think you're looking.
The bigger you get, the shorter you look as well. So
yeah, no, that's good. Awesome. That's good. How would you find like balancing like your kind of like bodybuilding kind of desires and lifestyle with your coaching and stuff? Do you find it kind of like intertwines quite well?
Yeah, like I personally think, especially the way that I've set things up and like the kind of audience that I generally work with, it works like perfectly. I've almost kind of made it kind of interlink and work quite well, because it's generally like, I work with a lot of people who either are natural bodybuilders or natural athletes, or want to, who want to become kind of like natural competitors, or pay people like who are, want to build better physiques sort of thing. So it's all very much like that's kind of my niche, and that's what I do. So it works quite well. It's like the kind of the more I put into myself, the more the business grows just organically from that. Yeah. So
yeah, people are kind of like feeding off your journey and everything that you're doing. Because obviously that's going to bring you in a lot of business. Are you coaching like a lot of like competitors at the moment? Anyone that's kind of going for 2021?
Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly how many, but we've got a few, probably like about 10 different people, like some in the UK, some in the US, some in Australia. So it's kind of like, got people everywhere. But yeah, it's like, there's probably more people that are like looking at developing their physiques ready to compete when all this stuff dies down. But we've got some like really good competitors and a good little group of people this year, which will be doing shows like in the summer. So
well, let's hope it's just not them on stage, because it'll be an easy win, but it's thinking that it's either going to be the really like insanely good looking physique people, or there's just not going to be anyone there, and there's just be no competition. But it's going to be interesting to see this season. And obviously I haven't mentioned it, but Jake actually coached me 2019, wasn't it? We did the two shows. We did the PCA in Exeter and then the PCA Body Power for my like first men's physique. So I've got experience of being coached by Jake, and yeah, that was a great experience as well. But I mean, so let's go back to start of first lockdown then. What was your business like? What kind of like happened for you then? Like, was there a big shift in change with like clientele? Was there any kind of like dramas, any kind of like concerns that kind of came up as soon as it happened? Or what was your process when that lockdown happened?
Yeah, so like the first, after like try and think back now, it's like
it
feels
miles,
like 12 months ago. It's like after like it seems like ages ago. But yeah, I remember when the first lockdown happened. I think when it first happened, the initial time, obviously, I think everyone was just like really almost like a bit confused about what was like. Obviously, we didn't know what was going to happen. Like I think if you said back then that 12 months later we'll be in a third lockdown, like I didn't believe it at first. I was one of the people that was like, yeah, we're not going to like lock down and be wearing masks all the time and all this sort of stuff. I was like, there's not a way in hell that like gyms are going to close. But then lo and behold, they did. So I think, fortunately, like to an extent, obviously all my stuff was like already online. So it wasn't like I wasn't like personal training and then had to transition online. Like I already had all of that set up like really efficiently. So that was like already in place. I think like with my clientele in general, it was like definitely a really, really stressful period, because the people generally, like the kind of audience stuff that I work with, and I guess it's like most people in general, like really like the gym, and it's like the idea of even training at home is just like not something they want to do. But I think especially with like my coaching audience or my kind of coaching like clients, like they're a little bit more, they're not like advanced lifters per se, but they're probably more advanced than what you're like. They're obviously a lot more advanced than your general population clients are. So it's like, then, for them to train at home when they're like squatting, like 4 plates in the gym and all this sort of stuff, it's kind of a bit of a like a lifestyle shift. And with that, it's kind of like, it changed up, it kind of affected a lot of people's goals. There's a lot of, I'm sure as well, and any other like personal trainer stuff, there's a lot of people whose works were affected. I like had clients who like lost their businesses, like all this sort of stuff. And I think that was probably where all the stress kind of came in. And it's just obviously, it was kind of just one of those manic times where I had to shift like a lot more time and energy and effort into the like business side of things. And it just kind of, it was a case of like having to do everything possible just to make sure that it was like impacted as minimalistically as possible, I guess. If that's a phrase.
And I mean, like you said, when you at the start just then, you were already set up as an online coach, so you didn't have this transition. At the time I was PTing just in a small gym, and throughout the first lockdown I didn't do anything until gyms reopened again. So I mean, I probably missed out on a good amount of business there not being online, because as soon as it just stopped, I kept in touch with a few clients, gave them a few plans, but there was no set online thing. That's happened since this year, because I thought, all right, I'll reassess now. I need to be online. But you've always been online, haven't you? You didn't start with personal training. I'm right in saying that, aren't I? You did.
So I was someone who went straight from like nothing. I was at university and I went straight from that to online. I never actually like personal trained, but obviously I've been like in the gym since I was like 15, so pretty much. But I never went to that. Like I never became a personal trainer and then went from a personal trainer to an online coach. Like I just wanted to do things online. So that's just like the avenue I went down straight away. And did you have any like when you first started there? Because obviously, what were you studying in uni again? This is so long ago. Don't know. I have no idea.
I can't remember what you were studying, to be honest.
it was that crap that. It was some like gym management, like personal training degree. It was something. But I think like I don't know, like I don't, because are you in uni at the minute still?
I don't feel like it, to be honest. I remember last year I've got May I'm going to be done, but obviously this whole year hasn't been in. But I mean, so because you were obviously, it was like second year you quit, didn't you? Because you were traveling. You were building up your online coaching during uni.
So it's a bit of a weird one, because I went to uni a little bit older, so I didn't go to uni like most. I don't know when most people go to uni. Like yourself, you went to uni after you'd worked for a few years, didn't you? So it's like that's what I did. I was working beforehand, then went to university, but I kind of almost went to university to start online coaching because I already kind of wanted to do that. I wanted to kind of go down the personal training, like online coaching route before I went to uni. So I kind of went to university to like give myself the time to do that, because before that I was working like 40, 50 hours a week. I just didn't like, you know, didn't like, it was really it wasn't impossible. It was incredibly difficult to be able to like find the time and stuff to do that. So I kind of thought of the idea to go to university, and then whilst at university, almost build like something for myself while I was there. And you see it all the time from like, you know, entrepreneurs and stuff like that, like going to university and then ended up leaving, or
dropping out,
you know, or whatever
else
with their own things. So that's kind of what I looked at doing from the start. And then kind of half what I did really.
Yeah, because I mean, you had a few years obviously to build it up while you were at uni, and I remember seeing you grow and develop with it all. And obviously you were out in America, kind of getting a good lot of experience from the big boys out there. But that was obviously a good eye opener for you. So what do you feel after uni? Because what was your next stage in your business then? Were you just went straight online? Were you not working as anything else? That was your only kind of source of revenue, was it?
Yeah. So I was actually like, when I was at uni, I was also like competing at the same time. So I competed like the first time before I went to university. So like by the time I went to uni, I'd already competed. And then like I didn't do like, you know, I came like third. So it wasn't like, for my first show, it was probably like pretty good looking back, because at the shows back then there was less shows and just more people. So it was like a decent result for like your first show. And like that first show, I can't remember exactly on my head, but like I know I was documenting various bits throughout that prep. And I know I was building up a little bit of a following, but nothing crazy, because obviously
so you feel like through your documentation, then that's kind of like what kickstarted your like initial clientele that kind of got your business up and running.
Yeah, I mean, that like 2016 prep, that's when I first started using like Instagram. So I think it was at the start of 2016 I first started using Instagram. I made a few like YouTube videos, which I'm sure you can find now, they're awful. Like they're absolutely awful. Like definitely don't listen to anything I say in those videos. But yeah, I made some like YouTube videos. I would have been training with you at the time as well.
Yeah,
for that
you'll
prep.
find us
like,
all over there. There's crappy videos.
Yeah, if you want to see Tom look like a 12-year-old boy, like
still looking like a 12-year-old boy.
But
no, it's
and then it kind of just like carried on from there. Like I've just documenting lots on Instagram mainly. And then obviously I competed the following year, and that was the year where I was working, because I was at uni. I was also working at the same time, and then I started my online coaching kind of at the end of 2017. So that was after I had 2017 was a really, really good year for competing with me. I like won like various shows like the Arnold Classic, stuff like that. So that was a really, really good year. And then at the end of that, that's when I started the online coaching. But that was but I already, like, at that point, I had already had people like asking, do you do diet plans? Do you do training plans? All this sort of stuff.
On social media, really, isn't it? Like, can you write me a diet plan? Can you do me a food plan? All the normal stuff, isn't it? But I mean, what do you feel like? Because you were just like me, you're just self-educating, wasn't it, throughout the whole time, throughout training, nutrition? Was there anything, because you weren't learning it at uni? Obviously
I think the one of the main differences I see is like, obviously, especially at the moment, you've got a lot of people who are trying to become online coaches and personal trainers and stuff like that. But like, it obviously depends individually. But if you're someone who's like just started going to the gym, like, and taking it seriously, like, you know, a year or so ago, and it doesn't matter. Like, I think that's where it gets mixed up. It like, it doesn't really matter about your age. Like, you could be like 25, and if you've just started going gym like a year or so ago, and now you're looking at being like an online coach and teaching other people, like, you're probably like, you're not at the stage which you can do. You have to like learn first, obviously. Whereas like with myself, like, I'd been going to the gym like pretty seriously since I was like 15. Like, as soon as I go into the gym, like, I was training and looking up nutrition. So even when I was like 15, 16, before like, you know, before I even know, you know, when I was at school, I was still like looking up like stuff like that. Like I did for my like GCSEs and A levels and all that sort of stuff. I did like sports focused stuff like all the way through that. Like I would hang around with people who were like strength conditioning coaches, and we had like an Olympic, I think it was like an Olympic level like teacher or something like that, who taught our like A level school, whatever it's called, like sixth form.
Sixth
so
form.
there's like, so it's like my like background from that. Like I've always like put myself from a very young age like in with people who were like I was learning off, if that makes sense. Who were like credible kind of teachers.
Just picking their brains along the way. And it's how I did it. It's how I got into it. Just self-educating to start. And then did you get a PT qualification in the end through uni?
No. So I think I've got like a I think I did. I think I did in the end.
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
somewhere.
it shows
It's in a box somewhere.
Yeah, it shows it's not needed. I mean, you know, it does
Yeah.
help you get an insurance at the end of the day. But to be an online coach, you know, let's go back to the content you were putting out. You obviously documenting your journey, but then you obviously, I remember seeing your posts and learning a lot from them. You still do it now, and it's even better now. But you've obviously put like a lot of content out that's educational, motivational, you know, mindset stuff. You're covering a lot of topics on there, showing your knowledge, and it's obviously just stuff that you've learned over the years. And that's probably what's, you know, over the years, as you've learned and you've shared free knowledge, that's how you've been probably grown. Well, that's how you've been growing your business, isn't it? Because you get your clients through social media.
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, that's what a lot of people don't realize is like, it's not a case of you put out a post and that post, like someone randomly sees that post and thinks, oh, I'm going to be coached by this person now because they put out a nice post. Like, that's not how it works. It's like you put out a post every day for a year. Somewhere throughout that year, someone's going to see one of your posts. They might then follow you, see another one, see another one, see another one. And maybe like 12 months down the line, you post something specifically that like resonates with them. And then they're like, oh, actually, like, you know, or you put like, you know, you finally put like I don't know, put some sort of coaching offer up, or they see on your story that you actually do coaching. And then they're like, oh, actually, maybe that's something I'm interested in. And then obviously that's where the kind of gateway opens. But yeah, it is a case of like, you've got to put in the time and the effort.
Yeah, and it's just constantly,
especially when you're getting started.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know, followers isn't the main thing at the end of the day, you know, but people are going to come in and they want to go look at your content. They want to come onto your feed and see what kind of stuff that's relatable to them. And if you're already putting a few things out and it's not really related to them, they're going to go off and they'll find someone else. But I mean, I think I remember seeing that it takes like, you know, on average, like, the majority of people buy within around 18 months on like products and services like ours.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, I think there's a very, maybe I think it's like 15-20% of people may buy like in short time, maybe like 3 months. But the majority of people are 18 months. So it's thinking, if majority of my business, I'm going to have to put in the long work with it, you know, documenting the journey, providing all this free stuff, you know, not thinking short term with it, thinking long term to kind of grow my audience, grow your authority within the industry. So then when people ultimately think, oh, I want to coach, you know, we'll go to Jake. Because you know, he's been, like you said, been putting out good content for a year. And if you're documenting your prep and your seasons and that all the time, you know, that's years and years of content that people can kind of like look back and kind of relate to and find some value in.
Yeah. And I'll even get people now who have been like, you know, I'll get people that pop up and be like, that I don't even, like, I'm not even aware of, because they might not even like, might not have never spoken to them before. They might have never like commented on any of my stuff, but they will like DM me and be like, oh, I've been following you for like 3 years, like watching your stories for like 3 years. And then obviously conversation starts from there, then they join coaching. But it's like, I think that's another thing, like you don't know who's watching and who's like following as well. Like, even if you've got like, you know, you don't have to have a big following. Like, I don't really have a big following by any means. It's like, you know, pretty, especially for these days, it's pretty like tiny. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's the thing as well. Like you can have like, I don't know, like 100 people who are like watching your story, like 100 followers or a couple hundred followers, whatever. But you know, in those 100 people, they're like watching you every day, like they're fully invested in you. So like realistically, that's 100 potential clients you've got. Like, even if you can get like a fifth of those to like pay you for coaching or something, you've pretty much like, you've set up a, you know, you're already working like almost full time from that. So
and it's because I mean, how many followers you got? Like 12,000 followers or 10,000, something like that. You're something. I mean, and it shows you can get a business like that. People think they have to have thousand followers. I mean, my PT page has like just under 400 followers, and I can sign up clients on that. Like, I was thinking of doing it on my main pages, like maybe 3,500, but I was like, there's a bunch of crap on there, and there's a bunch of people on there that probably don't follow me for the PT reason. I'll just start another one. And I know the people that follow that are interested. So like that 300, there's probably higher percentage chance of like signing people up, because they're actually people that have come over and they want to learn from me. And so it's not about having the mass amount of followers. It's having those, you know, those key true followers that if you put out a service, put out a product, it's like, they're there, you know, like you said, if you got 10,000, but you've got 100 people buying, like if you're an online coach, 100 people charging £150 a month, like, wow, you know, that's a revenue. That's your job. That's your life sorted.
Yeah. I mean, I've got like another Instagram page, which is for my client results and stuff like that, which is like @shaped by JB. And I don't know how many followers is on that. Like, not many, because it's just for my coaching clients results. Yeah. But I get like quite a few people come in through that, like just purely that page, who aren't even aware of my main page, who have like signed up just from seeing the results and stuff on there. And yeah, so it goes through, and that's got like barely any people, like, do you know what I mean? That's got barely any stuff on. I don't really post that much on there, but just because it's like, you know, just
to be honest, I think it's nice when someone unfollows, because then I just know it's like, all right, that person probably wasn't part of my audience.
I think
someone else is probably going to come back in
for some reason.
You can't hear me. Oh, I can still hear you. Have I just died on you? Jake can't hear me. Anyway, this brief intermission is brought to you by Tom Gilbert. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, for some reason the audio cut out.
Okay, let's
do it like that.
Tapping away on your keyboard. All right then. So obviously, previous education was like you just self-taught teaching, your own kind of anecdotal experience. Like, what's different now to your education? Because obviously I know you're probably in a point where you're taking your education on, you know, your business, your service, your marketing and all that kind of stuff quite seriously. Like, what is how do you educate yourself on all things kind of business and things related to your service?
So I think it's like I almost like completely separate the business side of things with the actual like coaching side of things. So I think they are like two completely different things. Like, do you know what I mean? Most like, you know, when it comes to like marketing and sales and like just general kind of business knowledge, it's like it's applicable to like any sort of online business. So you know, a lot of the people that I listen to in that sort of respect they're not online coaches. They're people who have set up like really successful businesses and do like podcasts and all that sort of stuff. So that's generally where I will kind of go to learn things like that from. And then when it comes to the actual like coaching knowledge side of things, then that's, I guess, where I'll kind of like follow and listen to people who I know have a lot of experience within that industry. It's not just I don't know. It's one of those things that I try and listen to people who I know for a fact have a lot of knowledge and experience. It's not just like one or the other.
Yeah.
So I think that's, again, it's like, you've got to be careful kind of like who you listen to, because there's a lot of people out there who are just like pretending to give you
some advice.
Yeah, advice when they don't have like both of it, if that makes sense. So I try and kind of like find people who I kind of
just kind of relate to,
if that makes sense.
People that kind of like are like where you kind of see yourself being.
Yeah.
Obviously not trying to be like them. Like, you're gonna have to be different and put your own spin on it. But it's like just taking everything with a pinch of salt and then, you know, learning and seeing. And I think the biggest learning thing is just actually doing it. You know, I mean, how many years is it online coaching now? You said 2017, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I think that's definitely the biggest thing of it all is just like kind of like trial and error, just like actually experience itself. Like, you need to get experience yourself. And until you almost start, obviously you're not going to get that. Like, when I first started obviously coaching back in 2017, like, I think there's limits to it, because you need to be able to like do that job properly,
the basics, you know.
So it's like, when you say like, obviously just go and do it and get the experience, I think that's all well and good, but I think some people kind of do that before they're ready, if that makes sense. Like, you need to like, if you're going to tell someone that you can help them lose body fat and get in shape, like, you need to be able to know for a fact that you can do that, and then obviously you go and prove it on a few people and get the experience. Because I think when it comes to coaching, it's not necessarily like the like knowledge side of it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, on paper, it's easy to get someone in shape, it's easy to get someone to build muscle if you know like the kind of actual science and stuff behind it. But it's like the actual human connection, the human kind of aspect of it, which is what the coaching is like. It's just dealing with other humans and getting them to actually do the things that they need to do.
It's a massive, I mean, a lot of the time I'm like a therapist with all of this. I mean, you know, I've learned a lot. I've been PTing 5 years now, and when I started PTing, I didn't really have a clue. I got the qualification, I knew basics training, but you know, I would do some free sessions, didn't really learn anything. But I think how I've just transferred now, you know, it's more kind of like based around like nutrition stuff. I'm tailoring stuff to people individually, you know what works here and what works there. I guess this is just all stuff I've just learned myself. And then as I just learn other things, I'll think what's applicable to my business, because there's going to be so much information out there, and some of it's not even my style. And it's just like, I'll bring in the things that work well with me, try it out again. If it works, if it doesn't, throw it away. If not, I'll keep that kind of thing. That's kind of like my process with learning, because there's so much out there. You know, there's so many like sites you can sign up to, Instagram pages you can follow, websites or whatever. I think it's just whenever you're picking stuff online and learning things, just find stuff that's applicable to you and suits you and your current kind of model of coaching. Try it. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Yeah. I think I'm like a big fan, because I'm like a practical person anyway. Like if I'm going to learn something, like I can't just like listen to it or watch it. I need to like physically do it. So it's like, I'm always a case of like, if you're going to teach something to someone else, like you should have already done that yourself.
100%.
So it's like, if you're going to teach someone else how to lose body fat, you need to have already had like some sort of transformation yourself, gone through that, experienced it, know the ins and the outs of it all and all that sort of stuff. Same with if you're going to teach someone to build muscle or do a contest prep, like you need to have competed before, or you need to have gone through a phase where you've really focused and learned how to build a lot of muscle and strength. So I think without that, it's gonna be very difficult to actually do your job properly, because you're not going to actually truly understand it.
Yeah. Then you can obviously just relate to like the situation that they're in, and they knowing that they are probably going to face similar hurdles that you did anyway. So when they come up, it's kind of a little bit easier to help them get over the hurdles, because you know probably what you did then, and you can kind of give them, that kind of like boost and that extra knowledge and confidence and guide them, really, because you've done it. And there's a lot of people that are probably saying, oh, I'm someone that can help you do this. Like, even if it's like, oh, I'm going to coach you to run a marathon, but they may have never done a marathon before. Like, no way I'm going to coach someone to run a marathon.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I remember back in the day, I loved my running, but again, I knew nothing. I just ran. But now I know the basics of it, but I've never been there. I've never been in the trenches when it's been with running. I've been there in the trenches with training and obviously done the prep and stuff like that. So I know that. Being relatable with running, that's just not my niche. And I think that's, you're learning to your niche and what kind of, coach and that you want to be, rather than just trying to coach everyone.
Yeah. I think especially like, I think when you start, you have to be a little bit more flexible with like who you're going to work with. Like you can't just be like, I'm only, because I've had this before, because obviously I teach quite a lot of my clients are also personal trainers and online coaches. And or wanting to become that as well. And I've had like a few people in the past who like want to get into personal training or online coaching, and they want to teach like bodybuilders, and they want to teach they want to start doing people like for contest prep
straight away.
And that's what they want that to be their niche, and they kind of want to dive in there straight away. But it's like, you can't do that. Like that's not how it works. You have to start with like, quite an open mind of who you're going to work with, and then obviously slowly funnel it into like your perfect niche sort of thing. But I think like what you're saying, like you need to like know where your boundaries are to begin with. Like, you can't just start off and, have like a contest prep client over there and a marathon runner and then like a football. Do you know what I mean? You need to like have an idea of what you can actually help someone with, and make sure that's your client.
I know, like, you're going to have like maybe an idea, like a broader spectrum when you first go in, exactly what you said, but you will just eventually kind of like funnel and niche it down. And even like people think, oh, I'm niching it down, that means I'm going to have like a really like small amount of clientele. Like most people are going to be helping people transfer like with body weight transformations, or like people just losing body fat. That niche is massive, even though you're funneling it down. Like most niches, even when you get down to like the smallest niches, there's still a huge population of people out there that you can help. And people are afraid to kind of like condense down their audience, because they think, oh, it's going to limit the amount of people I can work with and therefore the amount of money. But like, you got to remember, like there's a lot of people you can help, and especially if you're doing it online. So don't be afraid to limit it down, because your audience is still going to be fucking huge at the end of the day.
I think that's the thing. There's definitely no shortage of people, especially like, especially coming out of this, like the past like 12 months that we've had, there's definitely going to be no shortage of people who need help from like someone within the fitness space.
And whatever your niche is, you're probably, I mean, where do you feel, because your niche now, you've got a lot of people who want to compete, do you feel you're going to transfer that way, or do you like kind of do you still like the gen pop kind of stuff?
I think like it's a bit of a difficult one. I think my niche at the minute is kind of more, it's kind of straying more towards people who are a little bit more kind of advanced. And obviously it's not a case of me doing like specializing in like fat loss or muscle building or contest prep. It's just more a case of specializing in like men and women who are looking to kind of take things up to the next level. And then it generally involves all of that. It involves like, a fat loss phase and a muscle building phase, and maybe like a contest prep or photo shoot phase, if that's what they want. But it's kind of, it's more specific to people who want to kind of take things up to the next level, as opposed to just focusing on like fat loss or muscle building. It's like I kind of I've strayed away from like general population. I still have like, it depends on the person. Like if it's someone that I really get along with and I can like resonate with their goals, like I still have you know, a chunk of clients who I would consider like general population, and they're just people that I really get on with. Like, you know, I understand where they're coming from with their goals, and I'm like, you know, I quite enjoy working with them and helping them out with it. But at the same time, it's like if some like 40-year-old woman was to approach me for like coaching, like it's just like a no, like straight off the bat. Like it doesn't matter what. Like,
do you feel this is something that's happened naturally for you with your niching it down, or is it something that you kind of like are at a point right now, these are the kind of people I'm taking on?
I think it's a bit of both really, like because I've like over because I started I've probably coaching for like four years now maybe, and it's like over that time I've worked with pretty much like everyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've worked with like, you know, I've worked with like 40-year-old Sally and stuff like that. Not like that many times, but I've worked with pretty much everyone, and I've just kind of like found through that like who I enjoy and don't enjoy working with. And it's like I'm like, from a coaching standpoint, like and just even, you know, you probably know, like just knowing me anyway, I'm not like a babysitter sort of thing. I'm not like I'm not very like you know, I'm not gonna like hold people's hands and stuff like that. It's very much a case of like, you know, if you want to do it, then you've got to be serious about it and kind of so like I generally find that the people that works well with are people almost similar to myself or similar to like where I was a few years back. So it's kind of generally where things go in.
I mean, thing that I know is, you know, people buy into people that like themselves. So even at the beginning, like if you're kind of like your marketing is what's bringing people in, even if your marketing is quite broad, but now looking at your social media, you know, it is kind of like niche down to this, like you said, this higher end, the people that try and take it to the next level. Like, so you're going to funnel out like the people that are like, you don't want to work with, and you're naturally, the majority of your followers are going to be these people who want to take it to this next level. So your marketing is going to bring in those kind of people, and then ultimately that's going to be the people you're going to work with. But your marketing just shows your journey. It just shows who you are, and people will just naturally buy into people that are like themselves. And that's probably the natural side of it. But then it was obviously your conscious decision of like the kind of content you're putting out there that kind of, again, just funnels those other people out. You know,
I think that's why it's so important to put out, like, as well, to be active on, especially as an online coach. So obviously a personal trainer, like before someone signs up for you, like generally speaking, you're going to have a conversation with them in person beforehand. Like you're going to have maybe multiple conversations. You're maybe going to see them every day in the gym for several months, and then they'll sign up for you. So like they're already getting to know you, and they'll see you around the gym and things like that. So they already kind of get to know you like that. Like they don't need to like see you on social media. But from like an online coaching perspective, it is completely different, because it's like, you know, it's like I've got clients in America and Australia and like stuff like that. It's like I've never seen them like in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like 99% of my clients I've never seen in person in my life. So it's like the only way that they're going to be able to like go from not knowing me to being aware of me and then actually like liking me and trusting me enough to like coach them is obviously if they basically find out like who I am on social media. And obviously social media is the only way that you can do that. So it's like, you know, you need to be putting out content. And it's like, if you don't, then the people that sign up anyway, they're not really going to know you very well. So the likelihood is that if you do get someone to sign up, it's like a 50% chance that they'll like you or not. They might you might just be like not the sort of person. Whereas at the minute for me, especially because there's so much stuff, and I'm pretty consistent with putting stuff on my stories and stuff on Instagram. Like people who sign up with me generally know what I'm about and how things are going to go down. Like it's not a case of I've got like to explain to them how everything, you know, how I am and all that sort of stuff. Like they generally know.
I mean, the thing is this, people are always like too afraid of like putting people off with their social media. And I think like if you're trying to be someone you're not, if you're trying to be like James Smith or something like that and you're not, like if you're trying to have this kind of like fake you on social media, like for example, like you don't swear on social media, but as soon as you start doing coaching calls you're like fuck shit wanker, like you know, these people are going to be looking at you like, well, he's not like that on his social media, and I've just bought into him. I was like, I'm probably not going to like this guy. So whatever you're probably like in real life with your clients and your coaches and like family members and whatever, like just be like that online. Obviously don't be a dick, be professional, but like just be yourself. Like if you throw out a few swear words, or if you don't have to be the scientific guy or whatever. I'd be naturally what you are online. And then when people come to your business, they're getting the same person. They're not getting fake you there just to kind of sell. And then they're getting this kind of like person that they don't really care about, this person they don't actually like. And like I said, people buy into people like themselves. They're buying into the fake version, but as soon as you start coaching, they start coaching with you. It's like, well, I'm not probably going to do another month. I'll probably drop out.
Exactly.
I think people are too afraid of like, I post something or I lost a few followers, didn't get as many likes. Whereas like the people that didn't like it probably aren't your audience. The people that unfollowed you is not your audience. Like, don't waste your time trying to buy into people that will sell to people and never buy from you. Just be yourself on there, and you will quickly funnel through the people that are interested in your stuff. They look at who's engaging with your stuff, and do you like any like cold outreach on social media, or is it just people messaging you?
I have done in the past, and like I kind of will do to a certain extent, but it's not really something I've ever like had to do, if that makes sense. So it's not like the only time I've ever done cold out, like any sort of like cold outreach really is when like specifically seeing like a person that would be kind of like interested, who would kind of potentially want to work with me, sort of thing. But I think most of it is not like it hasn't been like it hasn't been like intentional cold outreach, if that makes sense. Like I will speak to people like on Instagram and things like that who are now clients or have been clients, but it's not like I didn't go into it being like, oh, well, like this person's a good target, like I'm going to get them on board. It's more of a case of like just speaking to people who I think would relate to like what I do, and then if they want to buy into my coaching at some point, then obviously I let them do it. Because again, that's another thing that I think is a bit of a mistake, is when people like, I'm sure everyone gets it all the time, and it's almost a thing now where like people can see it like miles off. If you DM someone and you're trying to sell them something straight off the bat, do you know what I mean? Everyone gets spammed with DMs like, do you want to buy this, that, and the other.
Do you want to buy my clothing? So I mean, I did a video about this in the group, and it's I message, so I have a look at like who's engaging with my stories, who's engaging with my posts, who's commenting, whatever, who's resharing or whatever, and I'll see these individuals, and if they seem like someone I would like to work with, I'll look at their social media or whatever, I'll give them a follow, and I'll message them, and I'll just see how they are, and then find out what their problems are. And I've done this video before, find out what their problems are, find out their limitations, find out their goals, and you just provide some value there and then, and you can start building a rapport with these individuals, start talking to them. This can be done for personal trainers and online, and you can find out if you like them, they'll find out if they like you, and then ultimately you start in this process of like possibly onboarding them, and all it really starts from is just providing them a bit of value, rather than like, I'm a coach. Like, they follow you, they know you're a coach, so you don't really need to tell them that. Like, if they want to sign up, they'll sign up. Like, maybe you just need to show them why to sign up, why they can, how you can help them. I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, is like, people should just sign up. Like, show them why, show them what they're going to get, and show them where you can get them ultimately.
Because realistically, that like approach with like obviously going to the DMs with people and stuff like that and having a conversation with people, it's almost like it is the same as putting up a post with like information and stuff on it, but you're just making sure that person firstly kind of like sees it, and that kind of like that information that you're putting out is perfectly relevant to that individual. So you almost like cut out the kind of like bullshit and stuff in the middle, and just go straight to the person, find out what their issue is, solve the issue there and then, or at least give them something to help them. And then obviously rather than just hoping that they happen to see the post which they'll resonate with which, especially these days with like social media, is getting like less and less of a chance of happening because reach and stuff.
And there's just so much on there. I mean, the amount of people I've just messaged and can provide a little bit of value, and then you can sign them up, book them a coaching call, give them some more advice. Or some people I literally would just message because I know they engage my stuff, and they're like, "Oh, I've been thinking of signing up with you." It's like, there you go. That was the easiest kind of sale that I've ever done. But you'd be surprised, and you probably have people that are following yourself that are like that. But hey, do you run like ads or anything like that?
Like I have done in the past for certain little things that I've run. So I've for like I'll if I put on like I don't know, like I did like an 8-week challenge. I think it was after the second, I don't know what lockdown it was, after the first lockdown, I think it was something like that. I ran some like ads on that, but even that is just, I generally would just run some like retargeting ads off my website or off like my Instagram page or something like that. And yeah, just use that. But I don't go like, I haven't pushed in with marketing. Like, to be honest, I think like the biggest way that I found with marketing myself, which is kind of like, I've almost taken it's probably like maybe like the slow approach, but it means that it's like for me, it means that I know that I'm always safe in regards to business, that I've built like myself up, and myself is like my personal brand is my business.
Yeah.
So it's like, I know that like, regardless of anything, like for example, when I compete this year, like my business will boom just from doing that. Like I won't even have to do anything. I'll just have to post pictures and just turn up to my shows and just be myself. And I know that I know from that I will get like a lot more attention and stuff like that, just because I will stand out in a crowd of like lots of people, if that makes sense, without sounding like
it's
arrogant.
No, I mean,
like,
I remember when you coached me and I did my prep, I wasn't doing any online coaching. Posting right. It sounds like you always have to be shredded, but like, I mean, I was posting more content of me being shredded, and that would get a little bit more engagement. You don't always have to be shredded. That's like probably the wrong way to put it. But I would get some clients just from just turning up and just being me, just posting the content and sharing.
But I always think like, although like, I think there's, although you don't have to be like shredded to get like clients and stuff like that. It's like, if you were going to get like, for example, obviously it depends on your audience at the end of the day. Like, like 40-year-old Sally who like is not going to care if you're shredded or not. Like she just wants like a nice chap, potentially named Tom Gilbert at the gym to give her a little wink and that. And
that's it. That's what I
do. But like for like, a lot of guys and stuff like that, and probably guys more than anyone else, and that's for a lot of people like myself, like that's your kind of going to be a big part of your demographic is going to be people similar age, similar gender, like maybe a bit before that, kind of progress wise a little bit before where you are at the minute. But like who are they going to be attracted to as a coach? Like some like overweight, like chubby looking person just putting up posts like saying that they know what they do, or just someone who like I can actually prove it and just post a picture of like, this is what, it's just people like naturally like see things. Do you know what I mean? Like they kind of just like pick up on what they see. So it's like, you don't even need to, that's the thing. It's like, if you work on yourself and build your kind of like personal brand and stuff up enough, like people, you won't even need to like market yourself much, because it will just do it by itself, just from like people looking at you.
It's crazy. I mean, everyone's different. I'll tell you what, for everyone who's listening and watching, if you've managed to get this far, go have a look at mine and Jake's social media. So your main one's also obviously Jake Brailey, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then just look at my Tom Gilbert PT one. Like obviously the same premises there, trying to educate and help people, but look how different our posts are. Like I probably post a little bit more of like my clientele and that, and just showing what individuals are doing. Yours is a lot more like kind of what you're doing, but obviously you have your transformation page and that as well that brings in stuff. But there's the similarities, and then there's a lot of differences as well. And everyone's going to be different. So I mean, if you're watching this far, go have a look and just have a see how people market differently, because you've got to find it yourself at the end of the day, don't you? Because there's no point trying to be like someone else. Because I think we've all probably tried that at the end of the day, tried to like kind of mimic someone, and you realize like this is crap. This is like, it just dwindles out so quickly, and you probably engagement goes down because people see right through it, don't they?
Yeah, you just got to be like, I think you got to be yourself. And at the end of the day as well, like, do you know what I mean? You don't want to be running like a business being like a fake person, because you got to like maintain that's a lot of energy in it, like trying to be someone that you're not. So the best way that I found is like, whenever like, since like I've just started being like a lot more kind of just like myself and stuff on social media, I've always trying to kind of be like that anyway, but like since I've just purposely like just not really giving a fuck, like everyone that joins now, like it's very rare that I get someone who actually signs up for coaching who I don't get on with, like very, very, very rare. So I think people will naturally gravitate towards you who like you and with you anyway.
I mean, I'm in the same in the gym. Like obviously I'll speak to everyone in the gym all the time, and but again, I'll probably only continue having conversations with people that I like, and at the moment I only have clientele I would like working with, and people don't leave because they don't like me. People might leave because of different situations with financial situations, whatever like that. But there's no one within 5 years, maybe I can remember one or two people that I didn't actually really get on with. Just wasn't a good fit. but because I've just taken the time and it's like, I'm not just going to work with everyone. I'm not just going to see them pull out their money and be, oh, I'll work with you. It's like, I don't like that person. They're a dick. Or then they're not going to do it. It's just like, I'm not going to work with that person. It's my business at the end of the day. And it's obviously your business. And, I'm going to choose who I want to work with. I'm not just going to go with whoever pulls out their money. And that's just, those kind of habits are just going to build kind of like long-term for your business and just help you grow and scale. Because again, it's fine tuning that niche, that niche that you're going to work with rather than just, and you just learn more from that rather than just working with anyone. I've had a handful of people that are just like, when I first started, to just come in and out of the business like that, maybe 1 or 2 sessions.
Oh, you always get it, especially that's another thing of the online coaching side of things as well, compared to like personal training. Is obviously with personal training, there is like that thing where they train in the gym that you personal train at, they see you in person. So in terms of like them just randomly leaving and just not speaking to you again, like the chances of that are very, very slim compared to like online coaching. Like all someone has to do is just disappear. And I'll even get it now. I'll even get it now occasionally. Like people just like, 1 minute they're absolutely fine. Something might happen in their personal life. Like they might break up their partner, or they might, they might lose their job or something. And they just vanish. Like they just don't, just disappear. Cancel the payment, just disappear. And unfortunately, like that is the thing of online coaching, is that because it is online and because you don't actually there's no repercussions from someone doing that. Do you know what I mean? That they can just vanish. It's just obviously that's like part of the benefit of having like kind of terms and conditions and having kind of like people paying upfront for things. But at the same time, you will get that, and it's a case of just not taking it personally. Like just understand that that's what people, people are going to be like that. Like unfortunately, especially in today's day and age, like a lot of people don't really have that kind of just common kind of respect and courtesy.
It is. And I think I had one last week, not drop out. I had a lady who wanted to book a consultation call with me, not going to name names, book a consultation call with me and go to call, no answer, text, no answer. And I get it all the time. There might be 1 in 10 that will happen. But you know what? Then I'll have 9 conversations and maybe 2 signups from that. Who knows? But there's always going to be people like that. And if that was about a week ago, and I haven't messaged her since. But I could have been like there, messaging her every single day, like, oh, how you doing? What you do? There's no point stressing about that. There's going to be people like that all the time. Focus on the people that are interested in you. Maybe this person just wasn't interested enough. They maybe thought they were. Then it's like there's not. You're gonna get that all the time. And people may start with you for a little bit and get a bit cold. Obviously, yours is different because it's online. People could just stop. In the gym, it is different because obviously, if they cancel, I'm just going to go up to them again and be like, no. But again, it's a different environment. Like they'll see me, they might feel a bit more awkward, just ghosting. They might just like do a little bit and then stop. But yeah, it's just understanding it's going to happen in any kind of business. People are just going to tell you, I can't do it anymore, and there'll be nothing you can say to do it, or they will just literally disappear. They'll change gyms, whatever. They'll block you, and they'll go because they just don't. There's something in there they just can't do it. But that's just the reality of business, isn't it? And
well, that is like a part of having and I think that's the thing as well. Of obviously being like self-employed compared to just like working. Like that's another big thing that I think a lot of people get into like online coaching or potentially personal training, like working for themselves personally. It's a little bit different, I guess, personal training, but it's still the same thing. It's still kind of self-employed, isn't it? It depends on how it's done and like what gym you train at, so on and so forth. But especially with online coaching, like do you know what I mean? Like I know people who through this have like had like a full-time online coaching business, and it's gone to like literally like shit overnight. They've gone from like lots to like nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like overnight. And it's like, like I'm pretty sure anyone who's got an online coaching business throughout lockdown, it's been a lot like up and down, up and down, up and down. Because it's just the way that it works. And it's like obviously PT, and like when gyms shut, there's a lot of PTs who just completely lost their entire business because they didn't have anything online and didn't really,
How have you been? You don't have to throw out numbers, but I mean, how have you been with like client retention and stuff like that? Like,
it's basically a bit of like now compared to the beginning of lockdown, the business has actually grown quite a lot. So it's actually good in that respect. I think there's various reasons why, but like generally it's grown quite decently between now and then. But obviously within that time, there's been like dips where, like I had like, what was it? I think it was, because generally when the first lockdown happened, like everything was really, really good. Like I don't think I had a single drop off from my clients for like a few weeks. And then it was when it got to the point where it was obviously not going to end soon. So I think
it got a bit real.
I don't know if you found that, the initially with the first lockdown, it was kind of like everyone just assumed it'd be over in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And then it kind of got to the point where people came to realization that actually it was going to be like a few months. And then I had people starting to lose their jobs, getting worried about, that maybe their partner would get less hours or something like that. So it was it wasn't a case of they wanted to stop the coaching. It was a case that they were afraid that they couldn't afford it. And one of the first things you cut, isn't it, is like a luxury like coaching.
Yeah.
So obviously I had like some people drop off, then I had some people join again. It was just very much a case. It was more of a case of there was more inconsistency within the business rather than normally I pretty much knew that I'll be coaching so-and-so people for so long and stuff like that. Yeah. Whereas obviously since the lockdown started, it's a little bit like, it's less like that now, but it's like when the first one and the second one kind of happened between like last year, it was more kind of like people dropping off, people coming up, people dropping off, people coming up sort of thing based on a kind of people's life circumstances, really.
Yeah, no. And I've noticed that a little bit with the second and the third one, people maybe putting back onto furlough or losing jobs, changing circumstances. This happens, people might go from your more, so obviously as a personal trainer, I have bits where I might do 3 sessions a week, 2 sessions a week, whatever. So someone might drop from my 3 sessions a week down to 1 session a week. They're still in my business. I've lost a bit of income, but they're still there just because they can't afford it. Or there's some people who literally have had to postpone for a few months and come back when things settle. And it's just understanding that happens. And obviously, it's not letting your emotions get ahead of you when you're having these fluctuations, and it's just accepting it. And then it's, because if you start stressing about it, that's when your business is probably it's not gonna be healthy for your business, is it?
Yeah. I think that's, yeah.
What do you feel like? So now you've seen it kind of plateau, and it doesn't have to be about lockdown or anything like that, but what do you feel in your business, in your service and stuff like that, has been like your main things that help you retain clients?
It's a tricky one. The main thing. I don't know.
Main thing, like, why do people stay with Shaped by JB?
Yeah, I guess it's making sure that the people that like sign up at the moment, like I almost like make sure I vet people quite a lot now compared to what I probably vet people more than what I used to. So in terms of like, I don't want like inconsistency within my business. I don't want people that sign up, because it's actually, it actually works out like a lot of waste of time and money and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? If someone signs up for like a month for online coaching, for example, that first month is generally a lot more time intensive on my part, because obviously that's the first month of them being coached. There's a lot more time that goes into the first month than like the second and the third and the fourth, because by the second and the third month and the fourth month, they've generally got the hang of everything and they require like less time and attention and stuff like that. Just generally speaking. So it's like if I constantly have people starting up and then dropping off like a month later, it's a lot of, it's like a lot of wasted time almost. And then obviously that person, they don't get any results from it, and it's like not really great from a business standpoint. So I try and make sure that people who join have like a very serious goal. And I think you can generally tell, like, I always make sure that I always have phone calls with people beforehand to make sure that they're a good fit. And I just make sure that on the phone, I like dive into what their goals are, like why that's their goal, like how much it means to them, all that sort of stuff. So I can get a really good idea of whether that person's just looking to like build a bit of muscle because he thinks it'll be cool for Instagram, or because he wants to like, completely change his life, lose a lot of weight. He wants to do it to, have like a better sex life and all that sort of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Something that's like generally like a lot more kind of, has a lot more meaning behind it. So that's probably like the main number one thing is just making sure that all the clients I have like really focused goals.
And like I said, just vetting them, making sure you like them, they like you get on, one big happy family. And then at the end of the day, it's just your service. Then if you provide a good service, and I always like to think that whatever I charge for my service, let's say I'm charging £150 a month, I would make sure that whatever I'm doing is worth £300 a month. So it's above and beyond. I'm blowing out their expectations. I can answer their questions, and if I can't answer it, I'll go learn it and come back to them. So I'm making sure my service is personable, tailored. I'm covering all basics. I'm saying I'm doing what I said I would, with that, I'm telling them, I'll help you with your nutrition. I'll do it. I'll help you with your training. I'll do it. Help you with your confidence. I'll do it. Whatever you promise them, do it. And then that's going to help you retain the clients,
Yeah.
and they'll start figuring out new goals. And you help them with that and help them progress, help them grow their kind of like their mindset with this, and because they'll come to you with one simple goal. And if you have clients, and I'm sure you've experienced this with people you've had for a long period of time, they come to you with an initial goal, but then you work with them for so long, whether it's months and years, and you start helping them with goals. You start saying, oh, why don't we do this now? And you guide them a little bit more after they've kind of just had a direction. And it's like, oh, we've got there. Now let's do this. So you're then constantly challenging them.
Yeah.
I think that does wonders for client retention, especially in times like this. I've done a lot of mindset, and it's like, people are depressed, people are stressing. Well, let's address it. What's stressing you? I've had conversations with my clients that are stressing about like kids going to school. It was like, your kid's not going to be an idiot, at the end of the day. Just trying to be real about it. But I'm trying to be a little bit more personal coach. It's personal training, personal coach, whatever. Personal's the big bit. It's being that kind of like, well, you're everything really. Like I said at the start, you're more of like a psychiatrist.
Yeah,
I think licensed.
yeah. I think that's another thing as well. It's kind of, you got to set boundaries to a point, and it's going to come down to like the individual. Like some people are going to want to like, we'll be happy to, and at the end, it's kind of like what you sell. Like if you don't want to talk to people, if you don't want to be bothered about other people's like personal life, and obviously there's a big spectrum. So it's like
100%.
You've got to almost just set your boundaries when people join, and just so that it's clear what you're basically providing to them and what you're not. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, and obviously everyone's gonna be different. Like, some people some coaches and PTs might be happy to like be on the phone to their client whilst they swap about their breakup with their partner and all that sort of stuff. But it's like other people just don't want to hear it. Do you know what I mean? It's not like their job sort of thing. And I think it's fair enough either way. Do you know what I mean? There's no right or wrong. It's just a case of you outlining, what's okay.
And you just stick to your own kind of like ideals and belief with your own business, and it just makes it a lot easier. And again, even so once you've kind of funneled people into your business, you're kind of going to funnel people in, and you'll probably eventually just sieve people out, people that maybe weren't meant to be there. And obviously, like you said, you lose some and you gain some again. It's always going to be like that. There's always going to be people in and out, and it's just accepting that. Hey, that's good. All right, let's wrap this up then. What would, put you on the spot, summarize main bit of advice for someone who's an online coach, starting online coaching? What would you say?
I'll say the first thing is, don't expect like success overnight. Like, it's going to be more difficult than people make out that it's going to be. Like, straight off the bat, like, you have to put a lot of time and effort and stuff into it before you'll get any sort of decent return. So that it's not to like put anyone off it, but it's just say that like, don't expect it to be easy. It's like, if you're gonna if you're planning on like completely changing your body sort of thing, it's not something that's going to happen in like 6 to 8 weeks, just this magical transformation. Like, it's going to take a lot of graft, it's going to take a lot of time, a lot of energy, like investment financially, physically, and all of that to actually get to where you want to get to. And then I'd say like, just like invest in yourself more than anything else. Just work on yourself. Like, you are the person that other people are investing in. So it's like, you should be like investing in yourself before you expect other people to do it.
Yeah, solid bit of advice. Thank you very much, Jake.
Right.
Hey guys, for anyone who's made it to the end, I hope you all enjoyed this. If you want to go follow Jake, I'll put his social media up here above. Mine will be there as well. You might know who I am already, but Jake is also here. He's probably going to be in the group. If you ever want us to do more conversations like this, talking about online coaching, you have specific questions rather than just our ramblings, let us know. I'm more than happy to. If you want to come on, Jake, and just do if we get a few questions together, we might be able to do one again in the future. But hey, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If there's any other topics you want us to cover and discuss in this, all things fitness, business related, let us know. And see you all later. Thank you very much, Jake.
Cheers.